SMS Chee Hong Tat.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank Mr. Saktiandi Supaat, Mr. Louis Ng, and Mr. Don Wee for their support for the Multimodal Transport Bill. Let me now address the points they raised. First, the qualifying criteria for logistics companies to join the registry. These are as follows. It must be a company or a person whose business name is registered in Singapore. It must also have a principal place of business in Singapore. It needs to have an insurance, bond, guarantee, or other financial arrangements that can cover payment for claims arising from any loss, damage, or delay in the delivery of the goods. And this is a standard industry requirement. Lastly, the company must maintain the prescribed minimum assets. At the start, we intend to set this to be the equivalent of 80,000 special drawing rights, which is equivalent to approximately Singapore dollars 153,000 based on current exchange rates. These criteria are reasonable and would not be entry barriers for logistics companies. If the House approves this bill, we will work with industry associations to reach out to logistics companies during the implementation. So I agree with Mr. Louis Ng that LTA should provide its reasons upfront if LTA refuses to issue or renew a registration certificate. LTA will do so. If there are any appeals from the companies, these can be submitted to the Minister for consideration. Mr. Don Wee asked whether potential customers will know the amount of liability insurance that a company has. We will publish this information on the registry website when the company registers with LTA. And this can help potential customers make informed decisions before engaging logistics companies for their multimodal transport services. So Mr. Saktiandi Supaat asked about the movement of hazardous materials. The ASEAN Framework Agreement on Multimodal Transport does not introduce additional requirements on the type of goods or materials that can be transported. However, the bill requires the consignor to accurately inform the multimodal transport operator, or MTO for short, of the nature of the goods. In particular, the consignor will need to spell out if any of its goods are of dangerous character and could endanger life or property. If it fails to do so, the consignor will be liable to the MTO if the MTO incurs any loss during the shipment that is due to the dangerous nature of the goods. As for Mr. Saktiandi's question about protection and insurance for logistics companies, the bill provides for a common and consistent liability regime for MTOs across ASEAN. To protect logistics companies, the bill also sets out exclusion conditions to exempt MTOs from liability in the event of loss or damage to goods due to unforeseen conditions. Mr. Don Wee suggested that the contents of the multimodal transport document be specified in English to lower transaction costs for businesses. The ASEAN Framework Agreement on Multimodal Transport does not explicitly state the language requirements of the multimodal transport document. However, as English is the official working language of ASEAN, we will work with fellow ASEAN member states towards formalizing this arrangement for the implementation. And there has been precedent in other ASEAN initiatives where documents are required to be in English or to be accompanied by a certified English translation. Lastly, Mr. Louis Ng asked about environmental sustainability for transport. This is an important topic. The ASEAN Framework Agreement on Multimodal Transport is focused on the legal, regulatory, and procedural aspects of facilitating the multimodal transport of goods across ASEAN member states. So it doesn't deal with environmental sustainability issues per se. Having said that, ASEAN recognizes the importance of environmental sustainability, including in the area of transport, and there are other ASEAN initiatives and platforms that promote this goal. And Singapore, we are involved in these initiatives. So these include the ASEAN Regional Strategy on Sustainable Land Transport, which was adopted by ASEAN transport ministers in 2018. Another example is the ASEAN Green Ship Strategy, which was adopted in 2019. Mr. Speaker, the Multimodal Transport Bill will put in place the legislative framework for Singapore to ratify the ASEAN Framework Agreement on Multimodal Transport later this year. Together with the ASEAN Framework Agreement on the Facilitation of Goods in Transit and the ASEAN Framework Agreement on the Facilitation of Interstate Transport that Singapore have already ratified, this will bring us one step closer towards the goal of enhancing regional integration, which members have spoken about. Sir, I beg to move.
Question is that the bill be now read a second time. As many as of the opinion say aye. Aye. To the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it.
Multimodal Transport Bill.
Committee stage, what day?
Now, sir, I beg to move that Parliament will immediately resolve itself into a committee on the bill.
The question is that Parliament will immediately resolve itself into a committee on the bill. As many as of the opinion say aye. Aye. To the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is that clauses 1 to 31 stand part of the bill. As many as of the opinion say aye. Aye. To the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Bill to be reported. Minister for Transport.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to report that the bill has been considered in committee and agreed to without amendment.
Third reading, what day?
Now, sir, I beg to move that the bill be now read a third time.
The question is that the bill be now read a third time. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. To the contrary, say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it.
Multimodal Transport Bill.